Good morning. This is Bernard Naumberg with the Naumberg Law Firm. It's another Tuesday morning. We're here with the chat. Today it's a real treat for me. We've got Jonathan Nelson with the Birmingham Barons. He's the longtime general manager here. And we're going to stray away from the law and talk a little bit about the Barons. Jonathan, thanks for being on today.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jonathan, we can start with a little bit of your background. I know you're from Fairhope and you've been lifelong involved in baseball. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been blessed. This is my 25th year in working in professional baseball, and 24 of them with the Barons. Mm-hmm. And then one other season was with the Detroit Tigers back in 1997. And it's really been fun. You know, I've always been a lifelong baseball fan, and being a White Sox fan, I appreciated the history of the game more so than the present day most of the times up until 2005. But at the same time, it's really been a lot of fun, especially to be a part of an organization where it's you work with a lot of players and now coaches that you grew up admiring. Back in those days. So it's really been a lot of fun. I started out, in sports. I went to the University of Montevallo. I did an internship with the Birmingham Bulls in their inaugural season back in the early 90s, 92, 93, and parlayed that into an internship with the Barons. And then I worked 4 years. My first year was in 1993, Southern League Championship. Terry Francona was our manager. And then the second year was 1994, Michael Jordan's infamous season with the Barons. And after those first 2 years, it's not hard to see how I would get hooked into working in this game, but it's really been a lot of fun.
Sure. Well, I know you've seen lots of awesome players over the years that have come through here, not only with the Barons team, but all of the Southern League ball players.
It's amazing the laundry list of who's played with the Barons or against the Barons, whether it be at the Hoover Met or Rick Wood or here at Regents Field recently. And you look no further. I mean, all the major league most of the major league stars played in one of those three ballparks in this city over the last several decades. So it's really been fun to see that. And it's also fun to see when they turn out to be something big. I remember our first year here in 2013 when you had a team. The Chattanooga Lookouts, when they were affiliated with the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you had some really high-profile prospects for them, but certainly within the next few months during that season, you saw Yasiel Puig go on to some really great things in LA, which was really a lot of fun. So, and then our guy Marcus Semien that year, he was a big part of that season, our MVP that year, and he was traded that next off season. And he's gone on to some really good things in Oakland too. So it's really been fun.
Yeah, I remember seeing Chris Bryant the last couple of years here.
And that season too, we talk about that all the time. Julio, our manager, we talk about who we played in the playoffs that year. We played the Tennessee Smokies, and of course they're affiliated with the Chicago Cubs. And then on that team they had Javier Baez and Chris Bryant and Alcantara. Yeah. And I mean it's amazing. I think maybe even Justin Bohr was on that team too, but he was on that. I know he was on the Tennessee Smokies in that time period. So it is amazing. And then Addison Reed too. Yeah. When he was traded, with the Jeff Smarsna deal, that his first game ever in the organization was here at Wrigley. I mean, at Regents Field.
What was he, 20?
He was very young. It was a Sunday afternoon. I remember that because I talked about this last night with my son, is that because that year Oakland was making their run, and they really pushed all their chips in the middle of the table to get Smarsha, and they traded their top prospect Reed, and obviously that's gone on to be a really good deal for the Cubs. Yeah.
One of my favorite highlights in the last year or two was, as you know, I'm a Vanderbilt alum, seeing Carson Fulmer pitch against Dansby Swanson and then hit Dansby right in the back. And
on Father's Day, I remember that.
Right. They had some friendly words as he trotted up to first base. But I know that you have enjoyed your job, and it's a labor of love when we see you around the ballpark. Talk a little bit about how moving downtown 5 years ago, I guess this is the 5th season now.
It is.
The transformation in downtown Birmingham, the partnerships you guys have formed with all your neighbors, and the Hall of Fame that's right over here, and those kind of things.
Well, it's beyond fun. We had, obviously we were at Rick Wood from 1910 to 1987, and then the Hoover Met for 25 years, and all those years were great, but being able to relocate, move downtown is beyond something special. I remember during this process, I mean, I always heard that as a GM, you're not really a fully indoctrinated GM until you go through the process of designing and building a ballpark. Now, I didn't really design it, but certainly had input in what the needs were and all that. But it was quite unique, to say the very least, that whole process. But what really kept you going and got you really fired up was you knew how positive it was going to be for the entire metro community, for the city. And it was one of those things where we knew, you know, it was something that was proven several different cities across America. If you relocate from a suburban ballpark to an urban ballpark, the ripple effect of the business development all across the community, not just downtown, but across the community is really just staggering. I mean, you look no further than Montgomery when they built Riverwalk Stadium. They've done an incredible job down there. But moving downtown, we knew that it was going to be something special. Despite, you know, there was always going to be, you know, folks that didn't believe that it was ever going to happen, or that it was not going to be successful, or they had their own sort of concerns for it. But regardless, we knew that it was going to be something special. We knew we were designing Regions Field, a ballpark that was going to fit the needs of this community. And when you had Railroad Park open up 2 years prior, I think it was around 2011 when Railroad Park opened up, and that was really the first piece of the puzzle for, if you will, a revitalization of downtown Birmingham, and I think people got excited. And where Regions Field currently sits right now is really the third property option. You know, it was supposed to be right across the street where Good People was. That was the original option. Then Caddy Corner, where Marita Bread Company is, now Baker's Road. That was the second option. And now, you know, this was the third option. And UAB was certainly very instrumental in making this happen with the city of Birmingham in a land swap, which really got everything going. And talking to our staff, our staff, obviously, it was it was a dream season in 2013 from beginning to end. Opening day, I've always said, should be sponsored by Murphy's Law, because anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And when you open a ballpark for the first time, it really dials it up to the nth degree. So when you turn on beer systems for the first time and beer shoots through the walls and all that type of things, it's rather unique. And it was a long day, but regardless, we knew that it was the beginning of another huge and great chapter of Barons baseball. But what's fun now is to sort of sit back and you look at images from opening day, or you look at 2013 or 14 or 15, and you see the dramatic changes in the entire landscape around the ballpark. The Negro Settling Museum, the apartments, the venue at the ballpark, the other apartments right down the street on First Avenue South, and everything, Publix, just right down the street. It is unbelievable and extremely satisfying and exciting to see what has happened and where we're going. That year I always, told our staff, I said, having been through the 1994 season and the uniqueness of that and how fun that was with Michael Jordan, it always reminded me of that season. But there was a huge difference. Obviously, when 1994 was a different world. You didn't have the internet. You had cell phones starting to take off, and ESPN starting to take off. But obviously, Michael Jordan, an international sports figure, and in this community, you had an unprecedented level of excitement and enthusiasm for Barons baseball. Crowds coming out there. I mean, in '94, we broke every imaginable record, from selling hot dogs to Cars Park to Beer Sport to Coke Sport.
I'm sure.
But you saw that level of excitement, enthusiasm, that sense of civic pride. And in 2013, you saw that once again. But the main difference was, obviously, with Michael Jordan, that was a one-year thing. This Regions Field is going to be permanent. And so that's what was so exciting about it. And not only do you see now the development around this, we call this the Parkside area, but you see the ripple effect of all across downtown in the metro community, the renewed enthusiasm for wanting to move down here. I tell my wife all the time, I want to move down here. I want to be able to walk to work, walk to the breweries, walk to the restaurants, walk to Railroad Park, exercise, all those things downtown. But the ripple effect of Avondale, of downtown with the Pizzitt's Food Hall, all these things, the residential development that continues at Lakeview, all that is just staggering, and it's beyond exciting to see where this thing is going. And I think that's what's to me, that is what's the most exciting thing, is that not only being satisfied from what has happened thus far,
Right.
but really the continued potential and development of everything.
I completely agree with you in that I think that the stigma of folks who may live in the suburbs or nowhere near downtown may just have in the past had a thought in their mind that, is it safe, is there enough stuff to do, and those kind of things. And selfishly, I live not far from downtown, work downtown, and I've seen over the last 10 years the transformation. When you can sit in any part of your ballpark here at Regions Field and see the skyline or see Children's Hospital or Vulcan, it really just sets a tone for Birmingham, and it's so cool that we have the stadium down here.
No doubt. And you know, we're very fortunate because HKS, the main architects out of Dallas, they did an incredible job with this ballpark. Again, design a ballpark that fit the needs of this community. You know, when you have a wraparound concourse, the unique views both from a playing field standpoint and from an exterior, whether you see Vulcan or whether you see Children's or the downtown city center, it's really beautiful, and incorporating a lot of the history of Barons baseball into Regions Field. You know, the seating bowl designed, patterned after Rickwood Field, the light standards designed after Rickwood Field too. And so to be able to incorporate that history, and obviously Rickwood Field is always going to be a huge part of what we are and what we continue to do, and it's whether it be the Barons or whether it be the A's back in the days or the Black Barons, is a big part of baseball history here in Birmingham.
Well, the stadium, I'm sure, is an ever-evolving project for you guys. And we see, you know, for example, I know that you've got Penny the dog that was put up a few years ago. That's from the old park. Just touches like that, I think, for any longtime fans of the Barons or just baseball in general, they appreciate those kind of things.
No doubt, and that's the challenge for us, is that, you know, we want Regions Field to maintain that fresh new feel, and so we certainly are committed to doing that, and also creating new opportunities here at the ballpark. You know, this past spring we opened the Switch Yard, which is, you know, the courtyard area right off 14th Street that has a food stream trailer and a bar stream trailer and a lot of interactive games, bocce ball, ping pong, cornhole, and so we're constantly looking to raise the bar in everything that we do, make everybody's experience fresh and fun.
Well, it's clearly evident in that I know you appreciate seeing another sold-out crowd announced at those games.
No doubt, and you know, again, you know, the last couple of weeks have really been unique and really been great, because I think everybody's really continued to stay excited. I mean, you know, everybody says, you know, when you open a ballpark, you know, it's like Michael Jordan's year, you just open the gates and people come. No, you have to have a great staff that works hard, diligently to get the groups out here, to sell tickets, to sell season tickets, to create fun promotions, and keep that experience fresh and new and fun. And, you know, we've been very fortunate to lead the league in attendance the last, you know, 4 years, and hopefully a 5th year in a row. But with that, you know, you obviously take on a big responsibility.
Sure.
And that you have to continue to raise the bar in everything that you do, whether it be customer service, whether it be concessions, whether it be the type of food, drinks that you serve. So it is something that, you know, with that kind of success, you have that kind of responsibility too, to take on, to continue to raise the bar in everything that you do.
Well, you guys certainly do an A-plus job in all of
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Tell the folks, I know there are many ways to get in touch with the ticket office and folks with the Barons if they want to hold a corporate event, a birthday party, etc. Tell folks what's the best way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously our website, www.barons.com, and all of our social media, you know, we're sort of in tune with the modern world, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. We do all those things, and so, you know, that's a way we communicate with folks. But, you know, when it comes to our website, it certainly has all the detailed information, whether it be our community relations, whether it be our schedule, our promotional schedule, ticket information, and group information, all those type of things. So that's really the best way. And then, of course, you know, you can always come by Regions Field, you know, Monday through Friday during normal business hours, and obviously on game days, on the weekends too. But our phone number, 988-3200.
988-3200. Well, personally speaking, I think sometime in the immediate future I'm going to apply for one of what I call the green shirt jobs, the ushers. That would be a perfect job for me. Get paid to watch baseball and help folks to their seats. Well, Jonathan, I appreciate you coming or letting me come to the stadium today to share for a few minutes. Again, I'm Bernard Nomberg with the Nomberg Law Firm. It's another Tuesday chat on Facebook Live. We'll be back next week where we're going to interview Derek Walczek, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the downtown metro area. Have a good day.